Hey, my name is JonBoy. My name is Jonathan. Everybody calls me JonBoy. It's a name my daddy gave me when I was a child, and it just kind of stuck. 38 years old, from Columbus, Mississippi. Um, the most important thing I want to share with you tonight is is Jesus Christ. I don't know whose baby that is. It is not mine. Yeah, the most important thing I want to share with you tonight is Jesus Christ. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my life, but most of he is the most important thing about my life. He has saved my life. He has brought me from so much, and I would not be here if it was not for him. Um, like I said, I was born in Columbus, Mississippi. I'm 38 years old. From a very young age, I was put into a foster home. Um, I was in a foster home from the time I was 4 until the time I was about 14 years old. I hated every bit of it. They used to make us go to church. Um, that's one thing that they was going to make you do every Sunday, and I hated it at the time. Get up, go to church. Didn't understand nothing about nothing. Um, by the time I was 14, um, I got out of Palmer home. My dad, um, and my mom, they both appeared back in my life. Um, my mom was on drugs real hard, and I didn't know what drugs was at the time. Through foster care, I learned a little bit about weed and stuff like that. But as far as hard drugs, I didn't know about that until I got with my mom, and um, like I was smoke crack with my mom at 14. Now, smoke crack with my mom. Do cocaine with my mom. Started shooting cocaine when I was 14 years old. Um, Started shooting cocaine with a buddy of mine. His daddy's here tonight, and I know he's got a good testimony too. Um, but we were shooting all these drugs up, and like from there it just started. Started doing drugs all the way up until I was 17. By the time I was 17, I went to prison for the first time. Uh, didn't know I'd end up spending 19 total years in prison. In and out, in and out, in and out. Didn't care about nothing except for what I wanted to do. And I guess I was kind of rebelling against a father that had tried to show up back in my life, and a mother. By the way, my mom's sober now for about 11 years now. Um, yeah, I think I kind of blame them for the childhood I had. I didn't really have a childhood. Um, like I said, I was in foster care, and then bam, 17 years old, I was in prison. Um, I did learn who God was in prison. I think everybody finds God in prison. If you don't find him, you ain't looking for him. I promise you that. Um, but yeah, um, I can remember one moment when I was in prison. Um, I done hit my lowest of lows. I was getting high in prison. Like, y'all don't believe that, do you? But getting high in prison, and I remember one night I went and I put my sheet up around my rack, and I was sitting in there and I was crying, man. I was crying, crying, crying. Lord, please get me out of here. I was high. I was in debt. I owed a bunch of people, and I was calling my mama and daddy. Y'all don't send me some money, they gonna kill me. Well, I went to my rack and I cried that night. I said, Lord, please, if you're real, I need your help. That next morning, I woke up, finally went to sleep. I woke up that next morning with a Bible on my bed. I had asked the chaplain for a Bible months before this, but it just, through the process of things, it took him a while to get it to me. And it just so happened to be that day. You know, I knew right then God was real. I think I quit doing drugs right then for a while, for like just cold turkey, just quit. Started digging into the Bible, and I found God. I realized, found out He was real, found out who God was. Um, Ended up getting out of prison again, hanging around with the wrong people, doing the wrong stuff we shouldn't be doing, and went back to prison. And like I said, this lasted a total of 7 trips, back and forth from the world to prison. Um, the last trip I went to prison, I had been sober from methamphetamines for about 5 years. I'm sober from meth now and all hard drugs for about 7 years now. But I know just because we get sober, sometimes we get sober and we want to still live that lifestyle. We still want to do some of the things that we shouldn't be doing. And I was still partying, I was still drinking and stuff like that, and hanging out with people I shouldn't have been hanging around. But I thought it was okay because I wasn't getting high, and they were getting high, but I wasn't getting high. And anyways, on ended up getting drunk one night, and this is probably about 4 years ago, maybe. Yeah, about 4 years ago, I went to prison for my last time. And I know it was my last time before I ever even went into the prison. I know it was going to be my last time because I knew right then that I was done. I was drinking and had been messing around on this girl. I shouldn't have been messing around on her and stuff like that. And anyways, it led to an altercation. And in the altercation, her brother came up and he shot me twice. Point blank range, shot me in the head twice. And they left me there for dead. And that's Jesus. I know right then that when I woke up, I knew that I had broke a promise to my kids that I would never leave them, or nothing like that. And I knew that they could have lost me that night. And anyways, I knew I was going back to jail for a probation violation. I knew that was coming. They were being lenient on me because of the situation. Um, uh, it, went to the hospital, in and out of the hospital a couple times, had surgery on my eye. Um, I remember when I first got out of the hospital, I'll tell you this, this is another thing about Jesus. I remember I first got out of the hospital and I went to my church, Columbus Christian Center, and I saw Brother Kenny, and I was paralyzed from the left side all the way down. Couldn't move my arms, couldn't move my eyes. I could only talk with half my mouth. I had to get carried up to the altar, but I told Brother Kenny and them, like, hey, I want to go to the altar. I can't get there. And they brought me to the altar, and Brother Kenny told me, he said, I don't understand it, but Jesus just told me to tell you that you're gonna make a full recovery like it never even happened. And it happened. I made a full recovery. Um, I did end up going back to prison behind that, um, for assault. I got shot and they sent me back to prison for assault. But I didn't do no drugs this time. I didn't hang out with nobody I wasn't supposed to this time. I went down there, I minded my own business. I didn't mess with nobody, stuck to myself. Ended up going through a drug and alcohol program, went to the program, had to complete it before I could get out. I was only supposed to do a couple months. It took over a year to do the A&D program. I was supposed to go do a 3 month program, but they didn't tell you that you got to get into the program before you can start it. I got stuck in Rankin County for forever. Um, that's hard to do being in an affiliation to go in there and just tell them, I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. I'm fixing to go home. I'm fixing to stay home. But Jesus had my back the whole time I was in there. Um, got out. Ended up having to go to the drug court program. They still had a possession charge on me from years back, like years back. They actually had 19 charges on me from years back. Um, I was in the process of getting out of them whenever I got shot, and anyways, it just brought it all the way back up, made it look bad on me. Um, Thank God, a narcotics officer from Columbus, Mississippi, Kevin Forrester, he went up to the judge and told the judge, like he stood up he stood up for me and told the judge that that's not the same guy that I arrested. Um, that he didn't want nothing to happen to me or nothing like that. And I remember the judge was like, well, can you pass a drug test? They said, throw all my charges out. They said, throw every one of them, 19 charges. He said, can you pass a drug test? I said, well, I've been smoking weed. And he said, well, I had to put you on drug court. So been on drug court for 3 years now. In this time I've been married going on 3 years. Um, that's my wife right there. Between the both of us, we have 6 children. That can be a handful at times. We love each and every one of them, but that's one thing I go through every day, telling myself is I'm not going to be the father that I had when I was a child. I know my wife's not going to be the mother that I have, and she's a very good mama. I don't know how she does it. I can't do it sometimes. Um, we go to church at Columbus Christian Center. She's been sober for 3 years. I've been sober from hard drugs for 7 years, the alcohol and the weed for over 3 years now. We're actively involved in our church. Her and I are the youth pastors at Columbus Christian Center. We teach what ages is it? 5 to 10. We teach ages 5 to 10, and sometimes it'd be 40 kids in there running around. And then sometimes the pastor would joke about how we got to take half the army with us every time we church. But it's a good life, man. It's a good life. And it's all because of Jesus, man. If it wasn't for Jesus Christ, wouldn't none of this be possible. I never in a million years thought that I would complete the drug court program. I graduate drug court in 10 days. She wakes me up every morning and tells me, you got 9 more days left. You got 8 more days. I graduate that program. Never in a million years did I think that our church would, you know, ask me to, hey, would you mind being our youth pastor? You and your wife. Never in a million years would I have thought that several years ago. But it's good, man. God is good. And if there ain't nothing else tonight that you should know is that Jesus Christ is real, man. He is real. God is real. Heaven is real. And the devil is real. And the devil, he will try to steal everything he can. He tried to take me from my kids. He tried to take my kids from me. And I know God wasn't going to allow that to happen. I should be dead. I got shot in the temple and in the back of the head. You know, there's no explanation for it. I got shot execution style, and I know Jesus Christ is the only thing that saved my life. Yeah.